I never expected her to remember my name, let alone everything else. The little things that no one else seemed to notice. Like how I always ordered black coffee with 2 sugars, or how I always sat at the same corner table near the window, the one that caught the afternoon light just right. The coffee shop was almost empty that Thursday afternoon, the hum of the espresso machine blending with soft jazz playing somewhere behind the counter. It was my usual refuge after a long day of lectures and half-hearted note-taking. I folded the napkin in my hands, my fingers tracing the crinkles without really thinking. Across the table, she sat, calm and poised, with a stack of papers and a pen poised as if ready to catch every thought. The way her eyes flicked up to meet mine was quick, just a brief glance, but it felt like the world paused for a second. "Focus on your work," she said quietly, the hint of a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. I looked down at my notebook, half filled with scribbles that made less sense the longer I stared. "You're my distraction," I said, the words coming out softer than I expected. She laughed, just a little. Not the loud kind, but that warm sound that fills the space between words. There was something in that laugh, something quiet and real that made the room feel smaller, more intimate. I caught myself watching the way her fingers traced the edge of a paper, the way her brow furrowed just slightly when she was deep in thought. It was ridiculous. How someone so out of my league, so untouchable, could become the focus of my restless mind. I wasn't usually like this, not so caught up in small moments or silent looks. Between sips of coffee, I found myself scrolling through my phone, thumbs hovering over unsent messages. Words that never felt right, texts I deleted before they even had a chance. It wasn't just about her, it was everything I was avoiding. The quiet loneliness that stretched beneath the surface of my days. She glanced at me again, her eyes steady and patient, as if she knew I was holding something back. I wanted to say something real, something that didn't sound like a cliché or a line from a bad movie. But instead, I just nodded and folded the napkin once more, my fingers still tracing the creases. The bell above the coffee shop door chimed softly, and someone walked in, breaking the bubble around us for just a moment. She looked up, then back at me, her smile lingering like a question. "Same time tomorrow?" she asked, voice low. I hesitated, unsure if I was really ready for what that invitation meant. "Yeah," I said finally. "Yeah, I'll be here." And as I packed up my things, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. That this quiet, ordinary afternoon held the weight of everything I hadn't dared to say yet. Because beneath the easy jokes and the shared coffee, there was a line I wasn't sure I wanted to cross. And maybe that was the most dangerous kind of distraction of all. The next afternoon, the coffee shop felt different. The usual hum of chatter softened, as if the space itself was holding its breath. The corner table waited, familiar, quiet. She brought 2 cups of tea this time. The steam curled between us, a warm invitation. "My mom used to make this when I was a kid," she said, her voice softer than usual. "Said it helped calm the nerves. Guess it still does." Her eyes flicked up, catching mine just a second too long before she looked away. I noticed the faint crease at the corner of her smile, like a secret she wasn't quite ready to share. The words lingered. I wanted to ask more, about the calm she chased or the nerves she tried to still, but the risk hung in the air. There was the age difference, sure, and the fact that she was my teacher, something unspoken and off-limits in every quiet moment we shared. Maybe even the whispers about her divorce, the ones I'd heard but never dared to mention. I folded my hands around the warm cup, pretending not to notice the way my heart tightened, or the way I imagined what it'd feel like to reach across the table and just touch her hand. We sat in silence after that, the kind that feels heavy but somehow right. Then, when I handed her back the empty cup, our fingers brushed, light, accidental, electric. She caught my gaze with a soft smile, one that said more than words ever could. I don't know why that moment stayed with me. Maybe because it felt like someone finally saw me. I saw the way her eyes flicked away when I reached out. Almost there, but not quite. The cafe door jingled. Tom, my roommate. That awkward smile, the one that said, "Did I just walk in on something?" She pulled back, just a little, the space suddenly colder. Hands folded tighter, shifting in the chair, like trying to hold on to something slipping through fingers. No words, just the clink of a spoon against the cup. I thought maybe she wanted me to say it. Or maybe she wanted me to stop. A breath held too long. Then her voice, barely a whisper, "You don't know what this means." And my heart, caught between wanting to push forward and the weight of everything unspoken. Almost the truth. But the moment slipped away like smoke. Full story in the link. Check the description. It's quiet. Just the hum of the streetlights and footsteps. She talks about her day like nothing's changed. But the words stick in the throat. "Did you notice the way he looked at you?" Pause. Breath catches, the world shrinks a little. Maybe I'm just afraid. Afraid I'm not enough. No anger, just a raw edge, like a wall crumbling brick by brick. Hands barely touch, then pull away. Silence fills the space between us. And then the question lingers, heavy and unspoken. What happens now? He stopped coming around like he used to. No calls, no texts. She grew quieter too, less like the person who once laughed easily over coffee. One afternoon, a glimpse, a photo slipped from a drawer. A kid's birthday party, balloons, a man whose face wasn't his. It hit like a whisper. There were parts of her life that never came into the light. Hope tangled with confusion. Was it all just a chapter he never planned to read? Days passed. The chair opposite stayed empty. Fingers hovered over the phone screen. Message half written, then deleted. I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt paused, like life forgot to finish the sentence. The kitchen was quiet, except for the hum of the fridge. Eyes met across the cluttered counter, the weight of everything unsaid pressing in. There was a pause, long enough to feel like a small lifetime. Words hovered, fragile, dangerous. "I don't want to lose this." The voice barely cracked, no grand declaration, just raw truth. A hand reached out, fingers brushing lightly against the back of a hand. No promises, no demands. Just the simple, steady pulse of being here, now. Okay. And that was enough. Morning light slips in through the curtains, soft and patient. The clock reads 8:47 a.m., just like that day on the bench where silence spoke louder than words. Tea steams gently between them, black coffee cooling on the windowsill, simple, familiar. No grand declarations, just a quiet understanding that's grown steady over time. A shared glance, a touch, a half-smile that says everything without saying a thing. Life isn't perfect. The old doubts and fears haven't vanished. But here, now, it feels warm and grounded. There's comfort in the routine, in the small moments that once seemed insignificant. They've earned this peace, together, quietly. And sometimes, when the world is still, there's that one look, the one that says, "You're exactly where you belong."